Good morning again, everyone, and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. It's another rainy day in Florida, at least North Florida. And the goal for today is to get the Mullet ready for a trip to the track tonight. See, I'm hooked up to my open trailer to haul the car down there. Yep, I'm gonna haul it on an open trailer because I bought Cletus's drive-on lift to put in the back room of the shop to store some extra cars in. Be a whole lot easier to load that on an open trailer. And it's a street car. It sees all kinds of weather on its adventures with all the different race week events. But today we've got to build a belly pan and get it installed because the diaper keeps getting torn up. Diapers are kind of a pain in the anyway. I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, you parents know diapers are no fun. So anyways, we've got a belly pan now, which is a bolt-on solution with a tray. Well, we're going to build a belly pan, but basically it'll be a bolt-on solution that has a hard pan, and then it's got oil absorbent material inside of it. So if there is any kind of leak or internal part of the engine becoming an external part of the engine, the oil will be caught by the belly pan and absorbed into the mat. And we also have a new throttle body to install. If you guys remember way back to all the build videos, the throttle body on this car was wrapped up in blue tape. Well, after the intro, explain what's going on with that and why we're changing it. All right, so why are we changing the throttle body on Mullet when it works? Well, there's a couple of reasons. There's a couple of changes that have been made since the pre-production version of the Motion Raceworks Icon throttle body was, you know, first dreamed up, and this first one was machined until the current production version. But the main reason is because this connection, this connection, this connection are all solid. And as you might imagine, with the turbos being mounted on, you know, this side and that side, they're all solid. That exhaust pipe is solid. Obviously the manifolds up into the turbo are all solid. Stainless steel versus aluminum. And there's the holes for the manifolds. There's a little bit of room for them to move around. Long story short, that pipe is kind of a pain to get in and take out of the car. So what we've got today is a new throttle body and new attachment method from Motion Raceworks, and it's their HD clamp. And what this does is it allows for a little bit of movement between the silver and this back flange, because you can see what we're doing here is now we're sealing on the outside of these O-rings so that these can wiggle a little bit. Wiggle, twist. There's a little cushion in the O-rings. And basically what that does is it's going to allow for a lot easier installations on the turbos. Now, eventually we may even switch to this same style clamp at the turbos themselves, but I'm not a big fan of cutting and welding on turbos, even though we do it. We had to do it on the Chevy 2 that we're building, which you guys will see coming up in a video soon. But it's always nice to be able to take a turbo right out of the box, especially on a race week type event, and just drop it on there, bolt it all up and go, instead of how, oh no, we got to have this flange cut and welded to it. Well, that's no fun. So, and also you can see it's black instead of the original machine silver look. So what I've got to do now is go take all that apart, decide where we're going to cut that other flange there, cut the V-band connection off of that throttle body. At the time that throttle body was sent to us, that was the only option they had, was the 4-inch V-band. They came up with doing some of these connections, and those guys are killing it. Like, they have a lot of awesome products. If you guys need anything for your race car, we're also Motion Raceworks dealers here at KSR, so anything you see from them you can get from us if you want to support us, or just go right to Motion and buy it from them and support them. So time for me to get to work. See if you guys can follow along with everything I'm doing. All right, well, let's see if it cranks with the new throttle body. May have to do some adjustments on the throttle position just to make sure everything's good there. It has been a little bit since this thing cranked, but let's see what happens. All right, I think the throttle position is a little too closed. Yep. All right, so along with the throttle body, Travis is working on a belly pan in front of the engine, just because the diaper that was on the car kind of got ripped up, and diapers are kind of a pain to deal with, honestly, just where they end up strapping up to the engine. Straps get melted, diaper falls down. It's fabric, so, and it's supposed to go between the oil pan and the flex plate, so it can get wrapped up inside the flex plate and get shredded, and if you catch a bump or it gets loose, it drags on the ground and just rips it. So the idea with a belly pan, it's a little more sturdy, can take a little bit more impact. With us changing the front springs to a stiffer front spring, the car shouldn't have as much dive as it had, like when Cletus and I were in Norwalk and we hit that seam in the road or whatever it was that we hit that hurt the oil pan the first time, which I'll actually show you. Oil pan's got a little scrape on it right here from and you can see even got a little dent right here where it pushed this out. But that happens with these things sometimes. So the way I set the car up originally when I was setting the engine height, I actually took the front suspension off of the car and lowered the front of the frame down until it laid on the ground, and the frame protected the oil pan. But that's with the car pitching down, as if the, you know, the rear tires are not really compressed all that much, because typically when you're coming down from a wheelie, the car's decelerating, so it's raising the back and throwing the front down. But what happened when we hit that bump, the car's level and we hit that real aggressive bump, and so the front tires went up when we hit the bump, and it allowed the oil pan to also contact the ground. So you can kind of see maybe kind of see how it just barely, let's see if I line up the frame rails, it just barely hangs below the frame rails. So with this oil pan we're making, it's a little thicker than what it has to be, and it should be able to take a little bit of an impact, not that we want to bounce it off the ground, but should do a little bit more to protect the oil pan, at least from getting ripped open, unless we really hit something ugly. Hopefully we don't do that. So we're gonna bring you along for the belly pan fabrication, and then we'll be taking this thing down to Bradenton and seeing if we can go faster and set some new best ETs for the car. So thanks for following along. All right, well, as you saw, we got our belly pan on the car, and it's got some oil absorbent mat inside of it, inside the tray that's right below the engine. Trying to catch anything if it does spill anything in there, but it's got that ready to go. Now we are headed off to Bradenton, where hopefully it's not going to rain us out tonight, to try and make this car go faster. So thanks again to everybody for watching, subscribing, going to the website and buying merch. This journey has been pretty amazing, and it's awesome to have you guys all following along with us. But for now, we'll get to loading up. Actually, I'll probably wrap up the video with a time lapse of us loading the thing up, just to be silly. Anyways, see you guys in the next one. All right, it's time to go to the racetrack. See you guys in the next one.